Welcome to today's show. Thank you for tuning in. Today it will only be me and Joe. David finally worked out how a VPN works and then discovered Pornhub, so he's not here today. Today's show we're going to start off with a slightly humorous point actually. A lot has been said about the fact that football is not a dangerous sport and that people fake injuries to win the ball, Oscar moments and things like that. But we've got a little bit here that we want to show you, which will show you that it actually isn't true at all. Watch the guy in yellow and boom!
It's coming up
taken out. So, not such a injury-free sport as everybody would think. Now we'll move on to something a little bit more serious. VAR, hotly contested at the moment. We've had the game between Cardiff City and Chelsea.
Here we go, yeah.
And I think for those of you that didn't watch the game, the first goal in the Chelsea comeback was offside by far.
It was a bit offside.
A meter. It was a meter. It wasn't even a little bit, and there were two players offside. You know, and VAR did not come in, and you know, Warnock was very, very unhappy about it. I feel for him. I mean, you know, and if you look at what he said it's the best league in the world with the worst officials.
Yeah,
a bit harsh.
He has a point, you know. After seeing that, it was so talking about the VAR. It was, if you had VAR, that's like a 2-second obvious call.
It would have been,
and you know, so they're debating VAR, but we know for that it just change the decision in like 10 seconds. It would just change it.
Exactly. Chelsea went on to win the game. Okay, and okay, maybe the second goal they deserved, but that first goal changed the game.
Yeah,
because they were in control. And had they not gotten that goal, I don't think Chelsea would have come back to win it. They would have, at best, drew.
At best, got a draw, yeah.
And if you look at the stats for Cardiff, it doesn't make for good reading. 8 games that they've won, 19 lost. They've conceded 59 goals. The 3 points against Chelsea would have been crucial in the relegation.
Well, now you look at Brighton. They would have been 2 points behind Brighton. Yeah. And Brighton are.
Well, let's look.
Are struggling.
Let's look at what the stats are. So, this is where we are. Cardiff on 32 games, 28 points. So, if they had won that game at Chelsea, they would have had 31. They would have only been 2 points behind Burnley, and they still have to play Burnley. Yeah. At Burnley.
And look at Burnley's fixtures as well.
Yeah, and Burnley's got a tough one.
Terrible set of fixtures.
I think, and the reason why Warnock was so upset is I think if Cardiff had won, I think they would have been very, very confident that they would have stayed up. Yeah. I think with Saints and Brighton both having a game in hand, also on 33 points, fixtures maybe a little bit better. I mean, Brighton is still got it tough.
Arsenal away, I mean, Arsenal at home, we know how good they are. Yeah. So you look at who's got Arsenal here. You've got Burnley, got Arsenal away. Last game as well, which means Arsenal, if it's top 4 race, they're going to want to win that game. Yeah. And Brighton have Arsenal away as well. So anyone that's got Arsenal away, Man City is pretty much a loss as well. So
I think if I have to look at between the 4 of...
I think Cardiff have the best fixtures.
If we have to look at this, Cardiff have the better fixtures. Liverpool and United being the only 2 really big ones. For the Saints, Liverpool, Wolves, and then kind of 50-50 games. Yeah. But I think in trouble is both Burnley and Brighton, and that's why Warnock was so upset.
Yeah, because with 2 points gap, they could easily have caught up. Are we going to say they're going to go down now with Cardiff?
I think Cardiff is still in with a shot. I think if you have to look at the silver lining. Not that there's much, because the 3 points would have been valuable. But at this moment, I still think it is fully in their hands. I mean, they're playing Burnley.
Look at the next 2 games.
Yeah, Burnley and Brighton. You know, you win those 2 games, they're up.
But say if they were 2 points behind rather than 5, and then they had to beat one of them to make a difference.
Exactly. Now they have to win both.
They have to win both. So Brighton's the team for me. I think it's between Brighton and Cardiff. So Brighton, that's a tough last 4 games for them, really. Look at that.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to take points from the last 4 games. I don't even think they're going to get points against Wolves.
I think Burnley will be okay. Only if Burnley, of course, that's if Burnley beat Cardiff. So if Burnley beat Cardiff, I think they're fine. So it's all in that game, really, to me. But I think Brighton are in trouble.
Right, let's move to something a little bit more happier, something which you are more excited about.
What a great picture of Levy he's got there. Giant head. That's an old one of Poch as well, I think. He's had a haircut recently.
Yeah, but I like this one because he's doing his happy dance. Look at that. It's almost like he's doing a little happy dance. We're open for business. I mean, you've got more of the facts about the numbers that's been talked about. I still look at that £631 million in debt. But you've just recorded a record revenue or record profit, right?
Record profit, 113 million after tax, and that's, we believe, is a world record as far as we can find.
Yeah,
all the media outlets are saying it's a world record profit, and that's good news. Levy obviously runs the club pretty well to be doing that. He does say the stadium cost could go up to 1 billion. So it's a big expense, we'll say that much.
So what is the implication now on, I mean, okay, so let's look at this. You've just recorded a record profit. You made 113 million in profit. How much of that is going to go back towards the stadium cost that might become $1 billion? Yeah. And how does that impact your acquisition of new players? Yes. Because you do need some new players.
Yeah, 100%. As far as what, say, Levy is saying, and both of them are saying, is it shouldn't affect the acquisition of players. And Levy was blaming the market being slow. That's why they didn't buy anyone, which maybe is false. But Poch has now come out and said we now have to match the facilities they have with what's on the pitch. So
yeah,
there's no doubt he means they need to buy some players, and that's kind of been clear this season because they're going to be fighting for third or fourth place. Or trying to get in the top 4, sorry. And if they want to push on, like he's saying, he was quoted as saying they won the World Cup. And everyone laughed for saying they won something. So I think that's maybe why he said that. It means in terms of facilities, they have world-class stadium, which is true now, world-class training facilities, and now Poch saying they need to match it on the pitch, needs to be on the same level of what the facilities are as what they produce. And we're close. I mean, up until the last 5 or 6 games, we were doing okay. But the acquisition of players it's been costly this season. The fact they didn't strengthen in depth.
No, I think that's where most of your profits come from. Is the fact that you haven't acquired new players.
Yeah.
You got 84 million that's now been recorded in this financial year that he's just been recorded for Walker.
Else.
But my fear is this. If you look at Arsenal, when they finally got their new stadium up and running, right, it's their own, etc., and they were saying the same things, now we need to match it. Wenger didn't get big budgets.
He didn't, no.
And that's why Arsenal is in a strong financial position, is because they didn't go out and they spent that. And that's why I have the big head in you.
Yeah.
Is because I don't think he's going to do it either. I don't think he's going to go to Poch now and say, all right, listen, next season we go out and we win the league. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's probably going to go and say, right, if you want more players, you've got to sell some players.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely think that's what's going to happen. I think you're going to be safe in terms of the top 4 this season. United stuffed it up with the loss against Wolves. And we'll talk about that, but I just don't see United going into the top 4. I think Chelsea will probably fight more for top 4 than we will. But, he's going to have European football. He's going to look at that, if I can make another 60, 80 million next season that I can contribute towards the stadium, keep the interest rates down, keep the players that we have, bring some youth players in, or players that are potentially good players, like the Santi Cazorla, these guys that Wenger could find out there that didn't cost him a lot, but then in the end returned a lot to the club.
Yeah,
I think that's what he's going to aim for.
We're not too far, not too far behind. We're a fair bit away from Liverpool and City in terms of points now. But it's just been the last 5 games has slowed us down, and that's maybe the players are tired now and what have you. So don't need that much in the way of acquisitions. 2 or 3 players to add to the squad. I think he's going to sell. So one of the big players, Eriksen, maybe in my mind is maybe one player is going to be sold.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be there. I
Eriksen,
think he's.
I don't have no problem with Eriksen. I said I don't have a problem with him going. He's a great player. He's one that I think can be potentially replaced with the money they get in for him. And as long as they keep hold of everyone else, I think it's replace him. Plus, we do need 1 or 2 extra players in.
Yeah.
But more for strengthening depth, because the first team, the first 11, is okay. So when Kane got injured, Ali got injured, it was a problem. I mean, actually, even though he won the points with Kane was out, I don't know. But the strength and depth, trying to fight the Champions League, trying to fight the Premier League is proven tough. We're still in the Champions League.
Yeah.
And
I think the main priority...
We'll see. He has to have Champions League, and he said that Poch has to make this stadium worthwhile, they have to get the Champions League. Still not guaranteed to me.
Yeah, no, and I agree with it. I think he's going to go and say to Poch, listen, dream about winning the league, but I'm happy if we make Champions League for the next 5 seasons, make Champions League, get that sponsorship fees in, get the television right fees in, and I'll be happy. I think that's what it's...
One thing Arsenal didn't do was have great runs in the Champions League in that time. So Poch has managed to get into the quarterfinals of the Champions League with the current squad, which is impressive, especially considering the group he was in. And it got unlucky with the draw, I think, against Man City. We'll come on to it. But he's proven he can go quite far in the Champions League.
Yeah. True.
So
I think you're sitting pretty. At this moment, I think Spurs are sitting pretty.
Are we that far away from winning the Champions League? Dream big, but
yeah.
If the draw was kind to us, we could have been in the... I think Liverpool got lucky with their draw, for example. We got Porto.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Champions League. We'll get to the Champions League. Let's look at some of the transfers that's happening. This one I think we all know about. If we look at Jimenez going now permanent deal from Benfica to Wolves, I think we all expected it. 30 million. It's not a lot of money.
That's great. That's a great deal.
Exactly. If you look at his stats, I mean, he's only scored 12 goals. He's had 7 assists, 30 games, but I think he offers a lot more than what that stats suggest. He holds up the ball. He draws defenders. He creates play. I think he's a decent player. And 30 million for him in today's market.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Great.
27 as well. He's got, he's not too old. He's got 5 years in there.
Yeah.
I want to see the stats, how many times he gets fouled as well. I think he gets lots of free kicks.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. I think he offers more because he draws those defenders in. Whenever the ball goes to him, you can see he pulls more than just one guy. There's no zonal defending. Yeah. It's 2 man-on-man markers, and that creates gaps for the rest. So good player, easy market, 30 million, get it done.
Best striker outside of the top 6 is what everyone's saying.
Yeah.
And I think that's 100%.
Yeah.
It's been a great player for them.
Interesting one. Ryan Fraser. Now, it's like you've said, this is, they're targeting this as a replacement for Ramsey.
It would appear. I mean, it's maybe a similar mold to Ramsey in terms of his productivity as well. He's even better than Ramsey's productivity.
Well, no, you see, this is where I'm not so sure. If you look at Ramsey's the type of player that's going to be in that midfield. He can play 10, he can drop a little bit deeper, he can go and fetch the ball. Fraser predominantly is down the left. You know, he goes up, wing play. That's what Fraser does.
I see he's a winger.
Yeah, 10 assists so far in the season. You know, one every 3 games. Not too bad. Is he really a replacement like for like? I don't think so. I don't think so. Does he provide in terms of productivity, love for the game, passion, commitment? He's got all of those things. He's got the right characteristics. But in terms of the gap that Ramsey is going to leave when he leaves Arsenal at the end of the season, I don't think you're easily going to find someone that's going to take that role. And again, but for 40 million, is it worth the risk? 100%. 100% for 40 million. And the reason why they're talking about 40 million is just because he's Scottish. It's not an English player. Had it been an English player, the fees would have been a lot higher, yeah? But I mean, for 40 million, yeah, take a chance. Let him play as an inside forward. So he goes down the left, cuts inside maybe. I don't know how he will link up with Aubameyang and how he will link up with Lacazette. I don't know at this point.
I think Iwobi's been playing there this season.
Yeah,
on that left flank.
Exactly.
So Iwobi's done okay. That's what I mean. Will they change his position around?
Yeah.
Is he capable? He is creative. I'd say that much.
Yeah.
Potentially, you know. So he is he does fight. I think he does some good defensive work.
Yeah.
So maybe they can mould him into a Ramsey. Yeah, maybe it's not a like for like you're saying.
Exactly. But it does fit the type of player that Arsenal go for.
I think it's a great signing for Arsenal if they go for him.
Okay. Well, we'll see if Everton maybe grabs him. But I think at this moment everybody thinks he's just going to go to Arsenal. Now, okay, so this is the big one. Jadon Sancho. English player. We can see that immediately in the transfer fee, £99 million for an 18-year-old who I still feel has a lot to prove. But, you know, there's big clubs looking at him. PSG is only one of those apart from United looking at him. If Dave wasn't stuck on Pornhub at the moment, he would be referring to the 15% that City would get from the sale, which doesn't really affect the fee because, you know, whether we buy them or somebody else buys them, we're going to pay a price to Dortmund, and Dortmund has to give off the 15%. My question is, does he want to come to United though? Created 10 goals, 17 assists, and I like that.
That's
not
a bad
10 goals,
figure,
17 assists for an 18-year-old playing in the Bundesliga, playing for Dortmund, and we know how competitive it is. You know, you literally, it's almost like the Premier League. You can play against Schalke that might be sitting 18th, and they will beat you 3-0. Yeah. Has he done it for England yet? Not really.
Played one game, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's come twice off the bench. But he's played in the youth side. Everybody seems to like him. I think he's a player with promise. But do you know, when you get to that number, 99 million, you know, you're looking at that 90 to 110, 120 million pounds. There's so much more that's out there that you can get. But they might not be English.
Yeah. Do Manchester United need a fresh English talent to come in and like they used to have, obviously, with the school of 92?
But now you see, this is the thing. Ferguson always had a core of English players. He wasn't big on getting the foreign players in. And when he would go for a foreign player, he would get someone of real quality. But he always had that base of English players that he focused on. Solskjaer reminds me a little bit of Ferguson in that he likes to play attacking. He likes to have people float around, not just be stuck in one position, and he likes to play his English players. Will this be the type of player that Solskjaer goes for? I think 100% yes. He plays the way that Solskjaer would like him to play. I just don't know if he's the type of guy that's going to take us from fighting to be in the top 4 to actually fighting for the league, because that's a big jump.
Yeah, it's a big jump. 18 as well. It's a lot of pressure for his age. It's, for the price, if we just ignored the price and said, what is he offering? Had a great season with Dortmund.
Yeah, 100%.
And would I have him on my team? Yes, for sure. Will he offer more than Manchester United have right now? Probably yes.
I think so.
In that current first team.
Yeah.
So price ignored is worth having in the team.
Well, let's look at this then. Let's go to the bits. And I'll go to the United bits. And today the bits will be a little bit longer than 60 seconds because I want to rant a little bit today.
We both do, I think. We both want to rant about something.
So this is the current United squad. The yellow ones are the ones that I would keep purely for quota. However, the red ones are all the ones that I think can just go. All right, it's time to move on. If we go down the list of defenders for now, hasn't really stepped up to the plate. He's a liability when he does play against big teams because he goes in very, very hard, doesn't judge it very well, often gets off with a red card. Jones and Smalling, I'm sorry, the boys play hard. I get that, and they're trying their best, and I get that too. But they're just not good enough. I'm sorry, but they just are not good enough.
I think the fact they're not good enough for England should speak volumes in itself. Like, you can't have defenders, first choice centre backs who are not playing for the international teams.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. If they're good enough, they'll be playing for England. But Gareth Southgate says, no, sorry, Smalling, you're not good enough with the ball.
There we go.
Jones, liability. So not good enough for Manchester United, really.
Exactly. Rojo, I know he's had a few injuries. He's had a few disciplinary issues, but mostly I think he struggled to come back into full fitness. But I think time to shift him also. Young, I'm sorry. I mean, how poor is the Man United back line when Young is not just playing at the right back all the time, but also is the captain of the squad. Valencia, I love Valencia. I think he's a great personality. He's fantastic on the ball. He can score. He can come in from deep and create play, but also getting on a little bit now. And I think, in his mind also, especially after the last injury, he's just not managed to come back into the squad, and maybe it's time to move on. So for him, I feel sorry. For the rest, I don't. You can go, guys. Cheers. Midfielders. Oh, my word. I know I'm going to take a lot of stick for this, but Pogba can go. I don't really care much for him. When he came back, I wasn't happy with him coming back. Just as I wasn't happy with Mourinho's decision or the decision to appoint Mourinho as a manager, I wasn't happy with that, and I was proved right because that was the wrong decision. Pogba wants to be a social media influencer. Go and do that in Real. Go and be a social media influencer in Real Madrid. Please, you can go. Bye. I'm happy. Mata, getting on a bit. I think we've known that for a couple of years now. I think he will probably move on. We triggered his automatic 1-year extension last season. We haven't offered him a new contract, so I think he'll move on. Lingard, take your fashion line and go to PSG. You will fit right in. Cheers. Bye-bye. I have never, ever been so upset with a player as I was with Lingard against Wolves. He didn't chase a single ball. He would jog around waiting for something to happen. When he got the ball, he would not even be surging forward. He played like we were playing against with Van Gaal in charge. Get the ball. Where am I going to... Okay, I'll pass left. I'll pass right. There's no exciting runs, no passion going in. He's made the squad. He's the main man. Lings. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Take your fashion line and fuck off. Okay? Fred... Woody has made some terrible buys over the season, and Fred, unfortunately, is one of them. Fred also caused the first goal.
He did.
He got the ball.
Yeah.
How do you lose the ball in that position? So, bye-bye. Not mated. Matic, great player, but also getting on a little bit. He's not able to keep up with players around him. All the quick midfielders run circles around him. Sorry, mate. Love you, but I think it's time to go. Forwards, I don't even want to talk about Sanchez. But I only want to talk about that because there was another call where we made it, and I went like, why are we buying this guy? And then we did it, and we all wanted to boast about how we got this player that was supposed to go to City. Yeah. And now it's come back to bite us in the arse. Okay? Karma is a bitch, and there we go. Proof. Martial.
That's an interesting one. The only one out of your list that I thought, apart from Pogba.
My problem with Martial is, as talented as he is, he's constantly sulking. You know? He gets the ball, and if he doesn't score a goal or the ball gets taken off him, instead of showing the commitment and some real like dog-like tenacity, I want to go back and win the ball back. He's not doing that. He goes, oh, I lost the ball. Oh, and then he mopes until the ball comes to him again, and then he hopes he's going to do something. So I think in terms of this season, it has shown, even when you put in someone like Solskjaer who can get the chemistry right and they can get players happy, in the big games, you still need quality to come through. We need footballers. We don't need social media highlights. We don't need people who worry about their fashion line when they're in their, young 20s. We need footballers. That's what we need. And Ferguson, the day Beckham started, and you can read it in his book, Beckham started with his hairstyle and wanted to be a fashion icon, etc. He gave him the boot, literally and figuratively, right. And he walked into the office and told David Gill, you will sell Beckham to Real Madrid. Done. No discussion. Done. And that's why Ferguson was so successful, because it wasn't just about keeping the players happy. If players liked him, it was a bonus, but he wanted to be respected, and they did respect him. Everybody in the club respected him, and that's why they behaved. Keeping players happy like Pogba, when he plays shit, don't go out and try and defend him. He doesn't deserve it.
Let's see how Solskjaer handles this summer.
He was outplayed. He doesn't have an idea. He gets the ball, then he stops play to think, oh wait, let me play it around, let me try and hold it. Where am I going to go? Oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, the ball's gone. Oh.
Well, Pogba lives off magic moments, and that's what he's trying. He'll appease like pundits for like an amazing pass or an amazing, and then for the rest of the time does nothing.
Yeah, he's nowhere.
So he's like a highlight reel footballer, basically.
Exactly.
That's what he lives for.
He can go. I'm sorry. Now, having said to let all these players go, I also am willing to say who we need to find to replace them.
No one left in his team now.
Well, look, here is what I would like to see. Okay, and I know we spoke about this and we joked about, it might be a little bit of a dream team, a fantasy team. Let me explain. I'll go down my reserves first. The only person that I will add to the reserves is Tarkowski. I think he's a great player, a lot of potential. 100% Tarkowski is one of those players that we are capable of acquiring. He's not going to be the guy that will expect to start every single game. He'll be happy with a rotation. He won't want to be a backup player, but he'll be happy with rotation and when he's placed in the side. Bring him in. I will keep McTominay. I will bring Gomez in. I will bring Chong in. I will give them opportunity. And I think Solskjaer will do that anyway. Plus, it's English players. Good for the quota. In the back line, Koulibaly. I think Koulibaly is, again, regardless of the fact that Napoli has declined offers, etc. I think at this point, Koulibaly is at that point where he also wants to go. And you would rather want to see some money come in than have an unhappy player with below par performances, and then he leaves anyway. So I think United is definitely in with a shout there. Varane and Umtiti or Umtiti, I am happy with either, but preferably both. I know Zidane came out and said he can't envision a Real Madrid without Varane in it. But do you know what? I think the boy's up for a fresh challenge.
Did you see his release clause?
I don't know what it
came out and said 400 million.
400 million? Okay, I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think a transfer of
400 plus million.
Do you know what? I think if United walk in and say, here is 100 million for Varane,
I don't think that's enough either.
I think they will sell him for 100.
Don't forget, he's still young enough.
Oh, he's
and
still
what he
young
offers
enough.
to the club.
He's still young enough.
And I think, 100, is that enough to say? Madrid won't let him go if they don't want to anyway.
Well, you know what?
Zidane's the man, so Zidane says, I don't want him to go. Are they going to sell him?
No, but I think Varane would want him.
Great player, I'm sure Man U would love him.
He's been there 6 seasons. He's won everything. He needs a fresh challenge. And I think also, you know what, he would have had the likes of someone like Ronaldo go in and say, if you really want to be a legend, you need to go and show that you're going to do it in other parts of the world. You don't want to be a Messi, where you've only been at one club and then people go, ooh, you've been so great. Yeah. And then that's half the world...
A fool, that's for you, mate.
And then half the world goes, oh, you've been great, and the other half of the world go like, but you've only been in one place. I don't think he wants to do that. I think he's better than that. I think he needs to give himself a fresh challenge. Titi, again, this is going to be a hard one to get away from Barca. But there has been so many rumours about him moving on from the moment that he got to Barcelona. That again, I do think it is a viable option.
More likely than Varane would be.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, if we don't get Varane, but we get Umtiti and Tarkowski, I'm still happy. That's still a decent backline.
Koulibaly is an interesting one. Because Napoli have obviously got Champions League football next season. They're going to finish second, right? Guaranteed, pretty much. So are you going to say if Man U don't get Champions League, is that an issue for them?
Here's the thing. Koulibaly has got 2 years left. If they don't sell him now, he's got 1 season left. Then his price is going to drop anyway. And they will not want to let him go on free. If they were willing to listen to offers, this will be the season where they're going to listen to offers. If you've got Shaw, who, by the way, can I just say, I was very critical of Shaw 2 seasons ago. Very critical. He was overweight, he looked lazy, played way too much PlayStation. He should have been playing Xbox, but he was playing PlayStation way too much, playing FIFA way too much. And the boy's just grown some big kahunas, knuckled down, and he's been absolutely incredible. And even in the game against Wolves, probably one of the players that stood out to me that had the most commitment and passion, running up and going, I have the ball, who wants it now? Where's my players?
He's impressive this season.
Exactly. So I have a lot of time for him. I will keep him. Lindelof, Koulibaly and Umtiti, if that's your 3 that you would use mainly as your 2 centre-backs, and you have Tarkowski coming in and rotating, fantastic. And Taylor, I think, should not be playing as a right winger.
Oh, no.
He isn't. He's a right back. He's a great right back. Keep him there. Darmian can play both left and right, so I think you have a good combination there. I think that will work. Wan-Bissaka, I think this is a decent player. I think this is a decent
Played
call.
well against us. The only player probably that against us that had, I would say, a good game.
100%.
Palace
And again,
were terrible in that game.
And again, is this a viable option? 100%. Is it one that can be acquired? Yes. Will it cost them 100 million? No. So definitely one that I think I can see that happen. So Koulibaly, Tarkowski, and Bissaka, I think they can happen. Varane and Titi, Varane probably like a 30% chance, but you've got to give it. Umtiti, I think is a good chance. I think is a 50-50 at least on Umtiti coming to United. Midfield, Ndombele, under the radar, not a lot of people talking about him, but this guy can play. He's dogged. He's one of those where you can go and say, get the ball. And he's just like a pit bull. He'll just go like, I want to go get the ball. Yeah, you want to go and get the ball. I like that kind of player.
Need it, don't you?
He'll put it in. He plays for Lyon, and he's an incredible player. And he's like that, and we've said this in the previous show. You get those players like Sol and Fernandinho, who's in the background doing the legwork, and nobody really talks about. There's a player.
That's what's happened to us as well with Dembele.
Yeah,
we're looking to replace him because we're actually one player we've hugely missed is probably him.
Exactly. Now that guy.
So there you go. Every team needs a player like that. We know that.
I think he's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
And again, I think it is a viable option. I think it is one that is 100%. Definitely.
How much do you reckon? What are they saying? Or anything?
I think Lyon knows his value, and I think they'll probably come in with anywhere between 85. Probably leave in the end for about 70 million, but I think that's going to probably be the number that will be touted in the papers.
It's not bad for Leon, is it? I'll take that.
Then the one that will be the most difficult of all to get, Dybala.
Yeah, 100%.
And I know this is probably a fantasy pick, I know. But hear me out. I like him. I think he's probably going to be one of those that will only move if he moves to a big club. United is a big club. Real is a big club. But he's going to be the guy that wants to play every week. Where is he going to get that? He will get at United every week. He's the type of player that Solskjaer favours. He's the type of player that will fit into the United style of playing, wanting to attack. Having a guy that can float at that 10, but drop to 8, come back to 10 and actually work hard, get a few goals, I think he can do it. He'll be the most expensive acquisition in the season. If that deal goes through, doesn't matter what any other club pays for any other player, except maybe if Real gets Mbappe, but he'll be the most expensive player.
So what's Man U's budget? That's what I'm going to ask you there. All these players coming in.
Let's wait with the budget talk.
Yeah.
Let's wait with the budget talk. Then we've got, obviously on the right, we've already spoken about Sancho. Will it happen? Will it not happen? I think if Sancho was to leave Dortmund, he would only want to leave for another club that can offer him similar to Dortmund. City has not talked about taking him back. Nobody else can really afford him. Would he want to go to PSG and play in the shadow of Neymar and Mbappe? He wouldn't want to do that. Come to United, he knows what he's going to get, right? He's playing with Rashford, who he's got a good relationship with. They're playing the national team. Sure. He knows a lot of the other players. He knows Shaw. I think it'll fit in. I think it'll make sense. And then Torven, which I think this guy is so underrated. Again, great player. Loads of ability. I can't remember his stats, but I think he creates 0.4 assists. So, is he a good player? 100%. He's quick. I think that's a good option. Nobody talks about him, so
I've not heard that.
Wouldn't come in too expensive as well.
Yeah.
But a good player. But that's who I would have. In order to make it happen, how much would it cost?
That's a lot of money right there, isn't it?
I think it would be a lot. Koulibaly will be 100. I think. Umtiti 100, so we're at 200. Wan-Bissaka I think will be probably about 50, so we're at 250. Ndombele, like I said, it'll probably be about 70, so that's 200.
That's 320.
220.
320.
320. Yeah, okay. I was trying to be clear.
Add up
320. Dybala 150 at least.
Yep.
So we're at what now? 480.
70, 480.
Sancho at 100. So we're at 580.
The biggest budget in world football.
And then Torven on the right. I think will probably come in at another 50. So 700 million.
Okay, and for the sale, because most.
And then Tarkowski, yes. So that would be another 50.
Oh, 50.
Yeah, I think that would be. It's English, right? Yeah. So 50. So we're at 750 million.
Yeah.
Okay. How much will we get for Pogba?
Yeah, so someone like Dybala would only come in if Pogba was sold, probably.
Exactly. And I think that will be able to be a straight swap. You let Matic go, you let Smalling go, you let Jones go, etc. I think them all being English, quota being a big thing.
Not all English players go for an amazing amount of money, by the way.
Quota will become a big thing, especially we don't know what's going to happen still with the Brexit thing, and we'll cover that when it happens. But I think English players are going to demand more money.
Yeah, they have for some time, haven't they?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
exactly.
But like, who's going to want to buy Smalling for 50 million?
Off topic, it's 8 players at the moment, right? That might go to 12 players minimum out of your squad of 25. 12 that have to be English.
Yeah.
That is difficult to do.
That kind of upsets your ability to get rid of Smalling and Jones.
Well, not really, because you get Tarkowski in.
Well, Jones got offered a 4-year contract. Right?
There you go, right? And you bring in Gomez and you bring in Chong.
Bissaka.
Exactly. So then you're covered. You're covered. You
Does
keep
Bissaka
Rashford.
count as homegrown?
And I think Lukaku is not far away from getting homegrown status, so he'll be fine. You've got Shaw, who's English as well. McTominay, well, he's Scottish. Pereira has decided to take on Brazilian citizenship. Darmian is obviously Italian. But if you have Tarkowski, you've got Gomez, you've got Chong, you've got Shaw, you've got Wan-Bissaka, you've got Sancho, you've got Rashford. There you already have 7, right? And then you bring in a few of the under 21s and you declare them as part of your squad, which doesn't increase your squad over 25. So you can do it. Yeah. You can do it.
It's going to be a very interesting summer, listening to you talk there. And let's see how much Solskjaer actually gets in terms of his budget.
I think we'll be okay.
Champions League is a big thing, though.
Yeah. But I think
for a player like Dybala, he's not going to come in if you're not in the Champions League, is he? Let's be honest.
If United want to keep the Adidas sponsorship and get big money from Adidas, what they will have to do is they will have to ensure that if they don't make European football, that the next season they are back in it. So will they have to spend? 100% they have to spend. If you're going to give Solskjaer a contract, and I still have my doubts about whether he's the right guy or not because of his passion or his commitment, just in tactical awareness. I think he still needs a little bit of experience in that, but who knows, I might be proven wrong. But you've got to back whoever you're going to appoint. Whether it had been Lauren, whether it had been anybody else, you would have to back them. And now what we've seen is it's new manager, same United. The last 3 games, the same. It has been without passion. It's been without a clear strategy. It's not been very creative. Is that Solskjaer's fault? No. You've had Mourinho, you've had Solskjaer. What's the difference? Nothing. Players are the same. So, not stepping up to the plate? Cheers.
Yeah.
City bits. So with Davey not being here,
we'll take on a bit for, shall we?
Right. City bits will be very easy, very quick. City has got a few injuries.
Coming up. There we go.
The most serious of them being Aguero. And if we look at Aguero's stats, I don't think we have to even talk about how important he is for City. I think his stats is very impressive. You score 20 goals in the Premier League, that's like scoring 35 in La Liga.
Every season.
Exactly. It's in, season out, 24, 20, 21. But if you look at the goals per game, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right?
For the
it's
Premier
just
League,
phenomenal. The only 2 that is higher, I have to exclude Mbappe in this one because Mbappe hasn't had so many seasons, but the only 2 that's above Aguero in terms of goal per game is Messi and Ronaldo. Yeah. Right? And they play in the Liga and now Serie A. This is Premier League.
Yeah. And
when you're scoring at 0.8, I mean, geez, then you're a good player.
Yeah.
Then you've got an eye for goal. And it's not that he's not getting any assists either. Like this season, he's already given 7 assists out of 25 games.
Yeah. Last 2 seasons, you can see an improvement there.
Exactly.
I think since Pep's had a big go at him.
Yeah.
I think Pep had a word with him.
Like you've also seen Aguero drift a little bit more rather than be a poacher. I think he's become more of a complete striker. He pops up on the left, pops up on the right, chops slightly, fetches the ball, sets it up for other players. And also I think the emergence of Sterling, Sane coming in and being a good player, I think that's had an influence. But even though you've had these players come in, he still scored above 20. Yeah. So, serious injury, yes. Will City still be fine? Hell yes. So, as far as I'm concerned...
We don't know how serious his injury is yet, do we?
No, I think he'll set out 1 game probably and rest and then be back.
I'm hoping he misses the Spurs game on Tuesday. Obviously, I'm really hoping Dave Aguero's not in that lineup.
I think
might give us more of a chance at home of beating you guys.
I think he will be. Right, my rant is over in terms of United.
Yeah.
Joe is a bit upset.
I'm not saying it's not maybe as much of a rant. It's a bit of a rant, actually.
I think Joe is being slightly unfair, but in the Spurs Bits today is Hugo Lloris. You have your opinion on this.
Yeah, he's error prone, let's say that much. I think Spurs fans have been saying this for a long time. He's been a great keeper, still is a great keeper on his day, but the guy just gives away out of nowhere. He'll just make some howler mistake, and you've put up here made 8 errors compared to, say, De Gea has made 3. Yeah,
true.
Looking at the error stats, I'm not even looking at clean sheet stats, save stats, because I know he can make saves and I know he can keep a clean sheet on his day, but the guy against Liverpool was the end for me. The guy, he was responsible for both Liverpool's goals. If you watch the game, and it cost us points. I went back to this when we played Barcelona at home in the Champions League. Cost us a goal there, but there's been on many occasions. He had an issue coming out of his box. Seems to have sorted that out a bit, but his concentration will go for a split second. He does something silly, and if you want to win the Premier League or you want to win trophies, you need a keeper that is minimal error, and he's got that in him.
I agree with you. I agree with you that he is error prone and he's made 8 errors. However, I will come to his defense slightly, because if we look at his stats and you look at, comparing to De Gea, you look at Edison, you look at Courtois, and the reason why we put up Courtois is because he's only left this season and there isn't really other great keepers that we can compare that had multiple seasons other than Courtois.
Alisson will come into it, I'm sure.
Exactly. From next season, he would have had 2 seasons. Yeah, but if you look at the amount of saves that he's made, 244 saves. Only De Gea has made more at 295. He's got to make 2.5 saves per game. Okay, it is a lot more in terms of goalkeeping he has to do than the other teams. When we look at Liverpool, when we look at Chelsea, when we look at City, you look at Edison. He has to make 1.6 per game. He's only conceding 0.7 per game.
Yeah,
and he's already made 2 errors. Yeah. He's only made 105 saves. If you look at Courtois, he made 144 from 2016 to 2018. They've had better defences. And with respect to Spurs and to Vertonghen and all these boys, I just don't rate their defence as high as someone like City, Liverpool now at the moment. And I think he's got a harder time. I think yes, 8 errors. Okay, yes, 8 errors. So basically 4 seasons.
He summed it up. At Palace, he made 2 really good saves towards the end. We were winning 2-0 and he made two really good saves. He kept a clean sheet. And he only had to make, I think, those 2 saves. But he did that. You go, okay, Lloris is a good keeper. The game before, he cost us the loss. You go back to the World Cup. Yeah, do you remember I think it was against Argentina, was it? No, Uruguay. I think it was Uruguay. He made he kept him in the game, made a world-class save. In the final of the World Cup, he made a howler, gave Croatia a goal. Remember that?
Yeah.
And they won the game at that point. But this is Lloris. These are silly mistakes. I know every keeper makes them from time to time. But it's just time. He needs someone that's going to make less errors, I think.
So at
the moment, or at least drop him and maybe just wake him up a bit, because at the moment, each time he makes a howler, he's always back in the team. And the backup keeper, I think, has had a good season whenever he's come in the cup competitions.
Oh, so here's the big question. If you let Lloris go,
maybe keep him, put him on the bench for now.
who would you replace Lloris with?
At the moment, I would put our number 2 in his place, our Argentinian guy, who I can't pronounce his name. I should know his name.
I've been waiting for it.
He's waiting for it. Okay, our number 2 keeper. He played well every time he's come in, so I put him in place, drop Lloris to the bench. Maybe that would be enough to wake him up.
Yeah, but my question is, aren't you being slightly unfair towards, or let me not say unfair, because 8 errors is a lot for a world-class keeper. 8 errors is a lot. I agree with that. But he has had to put in a lot of games. He's played 97 games. Okay. It's a lot, and
it's a tough being a keeper. We know that concentration, but like the mistakes that you'll make are not ones that you should make. But it's okay if you, I don't know.
But who would you? My question
the
still
level
remains.
Of mistake.
Who do you put in his place? Your number two, is it world class keeper? Has he had enough game time to prove himself at this level?
Each time he's come in, I've been impressed. And the one thing about Lloris I forgot to mention now. Okay, his kicking recently is on another level of terrible. Like every time he's got the ball at the back, I am panicking because I know he's going to kick it out, and it's going to go straight to the opposition player. The first goal for Liverpool, kicks it out straight to their player. They pass it out to the wide, comes in, they score. It was a great ball from Robinson for that goal. And he did it against Palace again, same thing, kicked it, chipped it out straight to their player. Thankfully Palace were not on it. And it's been doing it week in, week out. Every time the ball's going to him, I'm like, just get rid of it, Lloris, get rid of it. His kicking's not good enough. And for a world-class keeper, I look at Ederson, his kicking's unbelievable. And he showboats too much, Ederson, probably, but he's great with his feet. De Gea, it's good with the distribution, isn't it? Lloris's distribution is not up to it for me. Well, a backup keeper is better distributing the ball out from the back.
Okay. Well, I will say this. Joe does get mini heart attacks every time Spurs play because of Hugo Lloris. And we can see it on our WhatsApp group. We've got a WhatsApp group.
Yeah, I'm telling you now.
It's every time.
You shouldn't be there watching the game thinking every time the ball goes to your keeper, you're praying, please don't make a mistake, please don't make a mistake. That's not how you want to watch the game of football, is it? You know? It's not. It's giving all the fans a heart attack, that guy. But he'll make some world-class save, and everyone goes, oh, Lloris is amazing. And he does make world-class saves, but the mistakes is just too much.
All right, I think we will agree to disagree on this.
Look at his age as well, 32, come on, he's got what? Keepers, he might have 3 more years in him.
Well, you keep him for 3 more years and you find somebody else.
Put him on the bench for now. Well, at least it might make him stop making his errors. I don't know. Right. And I forgot his drink driving. The start of the season, remember that? He got done for drink driving.
Well,
I think he's drunk whenever he's kicking the ball out from the back, I'm telling you that.
Joe's very passionate about this point. Right, let's move to the FA Cup this weekend. I'm not going to talk too much about this. And this is where I'm happy that Dave is not here, because this would have been a very long insert. City is going to play Brighton. City is going to win. Wolves are going to play Watford, and Wolves are going to win. And the final is going to be between City and Wolves. Anything more you want to add?
I want to add, I don't know about the Wolves-Watford game. City are going to win. Wolves, on paper,
should win it.
Are probably favourites, but it's a neutral ground. And Watford, on their day, aka Man United, when they completely outplayed Man United
right now is like the French rugby team. You don't know who you're going to get.
Yeah, Watford as well. Again, on their day, you don't know what you're going to get with Watford. But Watford have the potential to beat Wolves.
Okay.
This is not certain.
Well, there we go. Then
I will say Wolves as well, sorry.
Then we move on to Champions League. Right. City against Tottenham. Oh my word, this is going to be another half an hour discussion.
Well, Dave's not here, so it's not going to be as long.
Well, let's park that one. Ajax against Juve. I think over the 2 legs, Juve takes it for me. Ajax are playing good football, but I just think Juve is tight enough at the back and will counter, and I think will cause Ajax a few problems. Liverpool, Porto. I think if Liverpool plays the way that we know they can play, this is done.
Yeah.
Then it's Liverpool. Man United, Barca. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I'm just going to say it was nice to get to where we are.
We never thought they would get past PSG.
We didn't think that.
So they have a chance.
I don't think we're going to get past Barca. I will just move on from it. we're glad to have gotten here. I hope we play well. Let's go to City versus
City Spurs. Okay, so it's a shame Dave's not here because we were going to have a debate. So we're playing at home on Tuesday, so the new stadium. So for me, I'm more confident going into this home game now, be at the new stadium, than if it was at Wembley, for sure. I think we're going to beat City at home. And something just says to me, I know there's not much substance to back that up recently because City seem to beat us all the time. I'm confident we're going to win that game. Being in the stadium, I think the atmosphere will help us. Aguero maybe being out. If he's out, I think we'll definitely win.
Big call, that one.
Big call. I said to Dave, I don't think we're going to beat them across the two games, but I'm just going to say we'll beat them at home. Won't have enough maybe to win over the two legs. It's the one team I didn't want to play, I'll be honest, was that City team. City, we all know how good City are.
Joe had a choice 4-letter word when the draw happened, and it was City. I won't say anything about it except it started with an F.
Yeah, no one wanted to hear we play City, but even Barcelona wouldn't have been the nicest draw to have like you guys have. Everyone wanted Porto. Yeah. Liverpool, I think we'll get through Porto. Ajax Juventus, it's an interesting one because Ajax went to Real Madrid and beat them after losing at home.
But Real has been terrible.
They have, and that was before Zidane was there. So, but Ajax could upset Juventus. Juventus are favourites. So I think we'll beat City on Tuesday.
But lose at the Etihad.
My prediction, but lose at the Etihad. Yeah, that's my prediction on it. I think we're going to win at home. So City will go through. Barcelona, I think, will go through. Juventus and Liverpool. My prediction for those.
Well, let's look at the weekend's Premier League games. There's just two that we are previewing this weekend because there's not much happening. Chelsea versus West Ham. Key players for me for Chelsea will be Hazard, Higuain and Kante. I think if you have Hazard and Kante control the midfield, Higuain will score. Chelsea will win it 2-0, I think. Definitely on the wide side is where I think it will be won. I think Hazard, with that ability to put runners in behind the defensive line, will cause West Ham problems. Sides, I think, is very predictable. I think the only thing where people might raise a few question marks is the fact that I'm putting Chita and Arnautovic to start together. They haven't done that in a while, but yeah. I think against Chelsea you have to. And then the lineup for Chelsea is kind of predictable. So
he played Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek from the start, didn't he? Against Brighton?
Yeah, but I think
and
against
praised them.
Yeah, but I think against West Ham, I think he's going to go.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Odoi kept in. Well, now that he started and did well, and he got praised, so you can't really drop him after.
Well,
that.
what are you going to do? You're going to put Hazard on the bench again?
No, because he played them all together, didn't he? Hudson, Odoi, Hazard, and Loftus-Cheek from the start, didn't he? Against Brighton.
Oh, but it's Brighton.
It's West Ham, I think Hudson-Odoi will start.
Okay.
So he's basically going more attacking than he has done.
Yeah.
He's been so defensive with his Jorginho, Kovacic. Predictable.
Yeah, very predictable.
So now he's maybe realised these players are good.
Yeah. Well, I think he will go with Higuain.
In games like that.
Look, against West Ham, if you look at that back four, except maybe for Cresswell, but that's very physical players. Big strong players. And that's why I think they will play Higuain, because he will be able to stand up against it. That's my only reason, really, because he hasn't really proved that he's the Higuain of 5 years ago. But in terms of physicality, I think he will match up.
Chelsea win that game.
Right, so we're looking at Everton versus Arsenal.
Yeah, it goes to the Spurs fan. All right, so everyone's going to go, Joe's a Spurs fan. He said Arsenal are going to lose because he's a Spurs fan. So I have predicted Everton will beat Arsenal. So it's not just because I'm a Spurs fan. Arsenal have done great this season. And if it was Emirates, I'd say the reverse result. We know Arsenal's away form is not the best this season. Everton's home form actually is also not the best. But I'm just going to go on what I've seen from Everton in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Much improved performances, and a quick going forward.
Yeah.
And Arsenal, I don't think like teams with pace attacking them.
Well, the way that you've set them up in your predicted squad, it looks like you're going to have them play counter-attacking football. Yeah, I think the way you're setting them up, Everton will sit back, wait for them, draw them in, and then
it's a tough one being at home to say you're going to play counter, but the way Everton beat West Ham, I know it's West Ham, not Arsenal, but they really destroyed them on the counter attack, and quick counter attack. So Arsenal, you've got Richarlison there, Sigurdsson, Bernard. I've said Lewin as well. So Lewin, he's the guy up front that really chases the player around up front. Yeah.
Almost what Lukaku used to do.
Hassles defenders. Defenders don't like him. He's physical as well, so he's strong. He can hold up the ball, and so I think he'll cause Arsenal's defence problems as well. And then defenders make mistakes. Everton get the ball back, and they can sort of exploit that. Arsenal as well can be a really strong team going forward. We know that. Lacazette and Aubameyang. It wasn't an easy call for me to make. I know, say, being the Spurs fan, I said Arsenal will lose. I just think it will be close. Just going on the last 2 games Everton have played, I think they've played really well. Yeah. And it's only because Arsenal are away that I'm going to say that Everton will take that.
I'm going to predict a reverse result. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal, because I think Arsenal has more to play for. But I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a very tight game.
Everton really desperate to get into 7th place. We don't know. This is the funny one. Who wants to get 7th place? That's what Everton are going for. I think the manager
has to win.
So the Everton manager keeps having to produce results now, and he's turned it around a little bit. Last 2 games against Liverpool, they got that draw and played really well. They do seem to have got the idea of how to get a balance. Because before they were just like, let's go and attack and then be vulnerable at the back, which against Arsenal is not the best idea either, because they can counter. But the attacking players seem to have come into some form for Everton.
Yeah. Dinge has also been playing very, very well at the back.
Say from they had a bit of an issue, I think, at the right back position with Coleman. Maybe not playing. I think he was injured, but he's come back in and played okay.
Yeah.
And Digne, or whatever you pronounce his name, Digne. So it's a close game, but I think Everton.
You'll think Everton will take the edge?
I'm obviously maybe hoping more than.
Well, I wouldn't mind. As a United fan, I would not mind if Arsenal loses, but I don't see it happen. If we look at the predictions for the rest of the games this weekend, so I think we all go. It's an interesting one from David saying Liverpool will draw.
I think he's saying that as a City fan.
Yeah, I genuinely think.
And who was more upset that Spurs messing up against Liverpool? Lloris. Dave hates Lloris more than I do, I think.
So we both going for Liverpool. Yeah. Bournemouth, Burnley. I think we both think Burnley will win it. Dave again is saying Bournemouth because they're playing at home. I don't know. It's a 50-50, but I think Burnley takes it.
Pressure's on Burnley to win. So we know that.
Leicester, Huddersfield, I think easy call to make.
Exhibition match coming in there.
Newcastle, Palace. Now you've gone for a win for Palace. Dave and I both went for a draw.
You know what? I don't know why I said Palace were going to win that game. I thought Palace's away form was alright until they played us, and they played terrible. So, did they play terrible because it was the first game in the stadium and they just turned up for the atmosphere?
Maybe.
Newcastle at home are good as well. So I'll have to stick by what I said, but I think maybe Newcastle can win that as well.
Well, funnily enough,
you've gone for draws.
Yeah, we went for a draw. Yeah. I think Palace will play hard. Newcastle will have to as well, but I just
we know Palace are not 100%
safe.
Guaranteed safe. They should be, but
neither is Newcastle. But I don't even think
no team. Both teams will still have to play hard.
Yeah. Everton, Arsenal. Good preview, and like I said, I'm the only one that see Arsenal winning this. You guys think they will lose. Fair enough. And then Chelsea, West Ham. Okay, we all went for a Chelsea win there. Stamford Bridge, playing for top 4. I think it's going to be very difficult to beat them.
West Ham have a kind of they're going for 7th place maybe, but they're safe, and I think they're just finding it hard to in these remaining games to sort of get up for these games.
Yeah. Well,
it's a derby though. It's a London derby.
Exactly, and I think that's also you add to it, but Chelsea will take it for me.
Chelsea should take it. Yeah.
That is our show for today. Enjoy the first game tonight, which will be Southampton-Liverpool, unless you're a Saints fan, which is,
We may think. I think Dave's travelled to Southampton to watch this game. I think, by the
might be. But yeah, join us again next week. Leave your comments, share us, follow us, and thank you very much for watching.
Guys.
Cheers.